Guys, so the electrical guys came out, and I wasn't able to come out on that day they came here. It turned out to be they're supposed to be here Friday, which would have been yesterday, and they showed up out here on Wednesday, and I couldn't get off work. And they were just going to start putting the poles up, getting the power lines run, probably about halfway to the building. But good old neighbor Mark came out here. He videotaped a little bit of what they were doing. I was hoping to get something a little more comprehensive, you know, showing the whole thing. But here's what we got going on. So from this pole here to the building, I think it's around 250 feet. And they're going to trench this right here and carry it to the corner of the building there underground, 3-inch conduit. So I was really hoping to show how they put these in. And it was described to me that it was a cone-shaped piece that goes way down in there. When they tighten this pin up before they put the cable on, it expands that cone outward into the dirt. The poles themselves, I can't remember the percentage of what's underground. And I was thinking either they packed it back in the ground with dirt, concreted it, but they actually use foam down in here, and I was hoping to record that as well. So here's the pipe they're going to use to come off the top of the pole. Looks like it's aluminum. That is aluminum. And there's the weatherhead, the lines to come in off the top of the transformer up there. So they'll bring this down the side of this pole, and they'll trench all the way to the corner of my building. I think I've got everything I need to put 2 outlets over here by the panel. And then I think I'll go ahead and wire in a light switch for a future light. And then this is what's going to go outside. It's going to be a 50 amp circuit for the trailer. So I think I've got everything I need to put this and that over there right next to the panel. So I'm just going to fast forward through this. I tell you, I've used these plastic boxes before, and this, when I mounted it, it was just too dang flimsy. Plus I was using some 10 gauge wire in there that I had around, and it was just really too thick to be using in there. I ended up putting a metal 2-gang box, and you'll see that here in a little bit. It really worked out a lot better. we're all done with all the electrical install to the building. And let's go through some of the stuff that they've got done here. You can see right here they came up. And you know, the one thing that I'm not really super pleased with, I mean, they could have chipped away a little bit on the ground. And you know, I'm sorry about the wind here right now. It's super windy out here. And this is a GoPro 7. It's got 3 mics on it that try to adjust for the wind. I wish I'd have thought that they might not fix that ledge right there so they can get this piece of pipe closer. And then you can see as they came in and they really didn't even get this tight here. So I don't know, I could put a heat blanket on that and then bend it inward so that that's tighter. I can't even get in that box really to do that with. So anyway, maybe I'll put some of that duct seal around there just for giggles. And then you can see here all the trench and covering. Now this guy said he covered it pretty well, and you know, he mounded it on top of the trench, and so that as it rained it would settle. This is the area that I'll show you they trenched. Here's a little footage of that. You can see there I think that's about a 12-inch wide bucket that was on there. But let's go down there and take a look at that. You know, as this rains, this is going to settle a little bit. I can take a little Benford skid steer and we can take it and level this all out real nice. But I want it to get packed down in there with a couple of rains. And I tell you, it hadn't rained much here. So let's go down there and look at the pole down there where they brought the power in. So here is the existing pole that the neighbors have their power brought in at. And I was wondering, I'm sure the neighbor had to pay for this power line to come in here to his house. And that's his transformer right there. And I was curious as to Tri-County, they do own these poles, even though you paid for them to put in. I mean, it's their service to be able to pull off of. So you can see right here, they just pulled off the top two lines coming in, right? I'm really not sure the voltage on that. It's a high voltage. So it looks like, so they come in here and there's a fuse up there for my line. So my 2 lines right here, they drop this pole in here. This is 30 foot. This is what I was talking about, those 30 foot out. They're gonna drop this pole in here. And since it's gonna be trying to be pulled that way from the tension of the wires, they mounted this pulling guide wire right here to keep it nice and straight. Well, isn't that nice? So they have the two power lines up there, and then they go down to where my transformer is on that pole, and that's about 250 feet right there. So let's go look at that. So they came out here and set those two poles, ran the wire. You can see they ran the wires over here and put a guide wire down there to compensate for the pole it wants to go going this way. My own transformer, and then it came down to a off the transformer is a 200 amp service that goes down the pole, and then they took this aluminum, oh, what is that up top, a weatherhead maybe, and they come down. This is all aluminum, so you got the transformer creating two 110 legs, and then return is what the other one is. So you got those three lines coming here, coming down this aluminum pole, and it goes in right here where the conduit runs underground to the building, and that's at least 250 feet, I would think, to the building. So check this out. I was going to show you this here real quick. When they set these poles, I didn't realize it, but they use a foam setter in there. I wished I could have seen that, but that looks good. Okay, so here's the panel finished up. My wired 50 amp 220 circuit for the trailer outside, and then I wired one circuit right here right now. I initially put a plastic box in here, and I had a light switch on it. It was flimsy as heck. It needs to be on a wall, so I redid this part. This right here is a 20 amp ground fault circuit breaker. It was about 50 bucks for that one breaker. These other breakers are probably 10 or 12 bucks. That ground fault breaker was 50. And I got that all wired in. Eventually what I'm going to do here, and I don't know if I'm going to include in this video, maybe coming up, is I have all the stuff to come off that 20 amp circuit, and one of the other two as well. I've got all my junk all laid out here. The conduit, 1/2 inch conduit right there. I'm going to come from this panel up to this corner, and then I'm going to come across this way to the peak. But I'm going to drop down one box right here at countertop level. I'll come over here and I'll drop one box down here at counter level. Outside I'll have a light, so I'll run a whip out for a light, and then I'm going to run a line all the way down the middle to that end. Come down with two boxes down there, and off of that line I will run a position for a light over here on this side, a light over here hanging up, a light above me in this bay, and a light in that bay. So there'll be 4 lights, and I'm able to pull through 9 wires, 9 12 gauge wires through a 1/2 inch conduit. So I'm going to pull in I think it was 4 circuits, actually 4 circuits and ground. No, yeah, 4 circuits and 1 ground wire is what I'm going to do. All right, so that's probably going to come up in another video. Maybe I might include in this one. But at any rate, we're getting really close on that. Okie dokie, so as promised, here's the invoice that I got from Tri-County. And you can see on there the initial construction cost was $10,178. That was all of the electricity brought in. And the first, you'll see right down there below, it says job credits, miscellaneous credits. They gave me a $7,600 credit right off the bat for being a new customer. And then since I became a member of Tri-County, they gave another credit of $1,161, which is nice. So the total credits equals $8,700. And that being said, the grand total down there you can see was just over $1,500 to have all that work done. It was really cheap. They made it really simple. And in the very bottom, you can see down there it says install overhead. It looks like that was 327 feet. And then install underground right below that, it was 219 feet. So other costs that were involved here was the cost on the meter base. That was $95 from Dealer Products, and I bought that breaker panel just right at Home Depot, and it was $175, I think is what that was. And then I did buy a separate 50 amp circuit breaker, and that wasn't a whole lot. And then the gfci circuit breaker for any outlets that I'm going to put near water that I put in there, and it was about $50. So all in all, it just wasn't terribly expensive to have the luxury of having electricity out there. So pretty good deal. And as always, a huge thank for you guys that watch this, and those that subscribe and leave comments. It's really appreciated. And you know what? We'll see you on the next one here coming up pretty quick.